Statistics show that 80% of the American population suffers from at least one mental health issue. Despite the widespread prevalence, have you been untouched by such problems? And if the answer is negative, and you are also struggling with psychological issues, how do you intend to navigate towards success despite this heavy burden? Certainly, if you can free yourself from these psychological wounds, you can progress towards success with greater speed. To achieve this, you must first gain a brief and useful understanding of psychological trauma. Then examine its symptoms to become aware of its presence and severity within yourself. Afterwards, find strategies for treating the damage and move towards its recovery. Join us in this video to acquire valuable information about recognizing trauma and its symptoms. Psychological trauma. In short, we always have expectations and perceptions of how the outside world should function. And when an event outside this pattern occurs, especially if it's distressing, it's referred to as a psychological trauma. When we lose our ability to cope with what has happened, a trauma response develops within us. From a physical standpoint, the response to trauma involves the activation of the amygdala. For understanding amygdala function, refer to the previous video in this playlist. Therefore, after a severe trauma, the brain enters an instinctual state in about 1/3 of cases, shutting down rational and intelligent control and initiating a process of generating reactive responses in the active brain. This leads to long-term trauma reactions. For instance, after a devastating accident resulting in damage, the amygdala takes control of the brain, constantly reminding us of the accident scene and its aftermath, wreaking havoc on our well-being. Now, how do we recognize if we've fallen into this trap? Hyperarousal. During these times, the amygdala is always donned in battle attire, and you might feel intense distress in unexpected places or situations, perhaps without knowing why. Your brain perceives something as a threat that you might not even be consciously aware of, causing you to act irrationally, such as having an outburst for no apparent reason in a store. Avoidance. You realize, or maybe not, that you've distanced yourself from everything that triggers you, cutting off contact with all the people or places associated with those triggers. Intrusion. Thoughts, images, and memories related to the unpleasant experience invade your mind, and your brain incessantly replays and reminds you of them. Negative emotions and thoughts. You are never in a state of contentment and are always grappling with various negative emotions. When these four responses are present in an individual at any moment and to varying degrees, it signifies that the person is experiencing and living with psychological trauma within their brain. This can lead to the dirty demon of post-traumatic anxiety. In the Oxford Dictionary, a state of enduring mental or emotional anxiety following a severe psychological shock or trauma, typically accompanied by symptoms such as sleep disturbances and persistent distressing memories, which disrupt the individual's response to others and the world around them. Or in other words, it's the inability to recover after a catastrophic event. This post-traumatic anxiety exhibits three categories of signs or symptoms. Re-experiencing the trauma, feeling that the incident and distressing trauma still exist and is ongoing, even if it's behind you and you're safe. Recurring distressing dreams about the event, powerful emotional reactions when the trauma is recalled, or physical symptoms like sweating, rapid heartbeats, and breathing difficulties. Avoidance of trauma-related memories, continuously engaging in activities that distract you from the issue, like steering conversations away from the topic, trying to distance yourself from people, places, activities, and everything connected to the incident, feeling an excessive need to control situations and environments, like sitting in a certain part of public places that provide a sense of safety, or maintaining personal space by avoiding crowds, feeling emotionally numb and disconnected, lack of interest in daily activities and even pleasurable activities, and a loss of enjoyment, feeling empty, not seeing a future and outlook. Physical symptoms: stomach tightness, difficulty eating and a struggle to ingest sugary foods, difficulty sleeping or falling asleep, or conversely, excessive boundaryless sleep that offers no benefits and perpetually leaves you tired. Disruption, depression, guilt, futile joy, misplaced anger. All these aspects find a nesting place within you. These factors are some of the crucial indicators of psychological damage and subsequently post-traumatic anxiety. Now, let's briefly discuss the information you should have before delving into combating these issues. Certainly, in the upcoming videos, we will extensively cover the treatment strategies for these conditions. Understand that it usually takes around 3 months for a person to recover from the blow caused by psychological trauma. This means that even after 90 days, all our sensory receptors may not function properly. Our effort should be directed towards accepting what's missing from our world and finding a way to continue living with the current state. By recalling the mechanism of the amygdala, we must strive to make our brain understand that we are in the present moment, not at the time of the traumatic event. Think about this sentence. Right now, I am present. The most critical period is the first 30 days, during which the treatment will have the most impact. We are fortunate if someone close to us lends a helping hand during these initial 30 days. Attention to timing and solitude is crucial during the first 30 and 90 days. Empathy, solidarity, family support, maintaining connections and discussing problems with them are more vital during this time than any other. Lack of such relationships makes the journey harder. Lastly, know that learning in this realm is akin to learning first aid treatment. It will be more critical than any else when necessary. Stay with us as we thoroughly address the topic of treating these challenges in the upcoming videos.